Good morning. Nice to begin the week with you here on 3+U, and nice for us because our good friend, Tiffany Ahlberg kicks off the show with us this morning, looking all tan. Nice to see you.
Good to see you too.
So we're talking about something so often when you're here. You have this great way, Tiffany, of making us all understand really the scope of your hearing health. It affects people in different ways, hearing loss can.
Yes.
But there's always a new technology out there that you can talk about. This one that you're focusing on this morning, though, very exciting.
It is. Yes.
And you're the only one, or the first, is that right, in East Tennessee to offer this.
Yes. Yeah, we're so excited to have it available in our office. And what it is it's called ear lens. And it looks similar to like a behind the ear receiver in the canal hearing aid, but it's using a radio frequency. Instead of an acoustic signal, it's using a radio frequency to transmit the sound to what looks like almost like a contact lens that sits on the eardrum.
Wow.
And it has a little motor in it that is pushing the sound into the middle ear space, and it gives us the ability to have a greatly increased bandwidth as far as the frequency responsive sound.
Okay, so you're such a good describer of things, so it's always fun when you share this because I can picture it. I can picture the contact lens on your eardrum. Prior to this, what you had was just a solitary hearing device, and is it the difference that the sound emitted just kind of went widespread?
And we still have the traditional hearing aids. So traditional hearing aids are still an option, and they are a good option for most people. But what happened is I was having people that have traditional hearing aids that would complain and say, I'm in the best device I could possibly be in, and I'm still struggling in background noise. And this is what encouraged me to start offering this device in our office. So whenever you have this little piece that sits on the eardrum, you're able to get the frequencies into the middle ear without any separation between the end of the hearing device to the eardrum.
Oh,
so what happens normally is the hearing aid, and I always describe sound waves like water because it's easier for us to understand how water travels. But if you have a water hose and I hold the water hose here and I try to hit you with it, you're going to get wet, but some of the water is going to disperse before it gets to you. However, if I take the water hose and I hold it right up against you, the water pressure is a whole lot more. And so the same thing happens with sound. So when we're able to get the sound closer to the middle ear space, then we're able to transmit a lot more of those frequencies into the ear without it dispersing and losing some of those sounds.
Okay, so this ear lens, how is that applied to your eardrum? How do you do that?
So it's kind of cool. So we work with a otologist, and he is going to take an impression of the whole ear, including the eardrum. So he has a special impression material, and he puts that on the eardrum and then fills the whole ear space out and takes it out. And then we send that to the company, and they make a custom-made little ear lens for people's particular eardrums. So it sits on there, and then we go back 2 weeks later when that custom piece is ready, and he puts that on the eardrum, and it just stays on the eardrum all the. That doesn't mean that you're hearing. You have to use a separate piece to actually use the hearing part of it.
Right.
But it stays on the eardrum all the time.
If you ever, for some reason, needed to have that taken off, or does it have to be tweaked every now and then, or anything like that?
So it can separate from the eardrum. I mean, they have to use a mineral oil every 2 days, and that helps it to stay connected to the eardrum.
Okay.
Most of the time, it just stays there, but I mean, there's always a chance that it could become separated, and it has to go back and be placed back on the eardrum, but it doesn't happen very often.
So the primary candidate for this is somebody who's wearing the hearing device, but they just still have a hard time filtering out the background noise. Is that right?
That's the people that I got into it for. And then it's also going to be for people who maybe have just highly active lifestyles and background noise, and they just want the very best. It is a different format than a traditional hearing aid, so it requires a little bit more going ahead as far as the impression and going to the doctor to have it placed and things like that.
Right.
But yeah, it's for people who just know that they have to hear in background noise. It's for people who have hearing devices and struggle with their hearing devices in background noise.
Right. So if you are somebody who's considering this, but you're not a patient of yours yet, they can just call you?
Yeah.
How does that work?
Yeah, they can call, and I mean, obviously the very first thing we need to do is we need to do a hearing test.
Sure.
Because it is for certain hearing losses. So some people are not going to be candidates for it based on their hearing loss. So that's the very first step that we have to do. And they have a really neat device that we're able to demo it with. So it's called a comparator, and we can actually put the ear lens. It's just with headphones, but it's a simulator so that you can actually experience and hear the difference between a standard hearing aid and this particular device. So it's a very neat way of demonstrating what it will do.
And you mentioned, I can't say what he is, but the
otologist.
Okay,
he's
in
an ear
Knoxville.
surgeon.
He's in
Yes.
Knoxville. But if you're here in the Chattanooga area, you're just going to send that to him, and then he sends it back to you. No need for the patient to travel.
No, they do.
They do travel to Knoxville. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Twice.
Very good. But that just shows you how intense and customized everything is.
Yes, it is.
How great for you to be offering it, and you did it all because you heard your clients making the kind of request and the need, and you found a solution for them.
Yeah, it definitely. I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
So.
So you'll find her, Dr. Tiffany Ahlberg, at Ahlberg Audiology on North Ocoee Street in Cleveland. The phone number there on your screen and online, of course, it's ahlbergaudiology.com. So Tiffany's never had a chance to be here as we did the dad joke of the week, I don't think, but get ready because Mondays mean our dad joke of the week. So as we close out the month, begin the week, here's Jason to make you laugh.
Your dad joke of the week, brought to you by West Yellow Knife Trading Post.
Hi there, and welcome back to this week's installment of the Dad Joke of the Week. My friend bought a dog from a blacksmith. As soon as he got